your brain goes into this panic frenzy mode where you start to feel like every time you slow down, the weekend is when it happens most. You lose control. You're no longer in control of your business and what you can achieve and the outcomes you can create. So you go into a frenzy and you panic about everything and you start thinking about worst case scenarios. Now I feel like I need to try and understand this better. And I think it started with picking up the phone in the morning and what that told me. The very first thing I do in the morning is check on my business. And what I'm really trying to do when I thought about it more deeply, when I sat with it for a little bit, was I'm just trying to get signals of, is everything still okay? So there's a fear that everything won't be okay, that things might just start to fall down. And without that kind of excess and comfort level of income, you start to panic and wonder what that means for your life, your kids, whatever it might be. And so I think the hardest part of it is those moments, because my phone is always near me. My phone is always beside me. And that ability to check no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, I thought that must be a problem. That must be a problem in all this mental weight that I feel all the time around my business. So at 5 o'clock, I think it was 5:15, I looked at my phone and I said, the kids were on their way home. And I said, I'm not going to check it. I'm putting it away. And I spent that time that evening with my kids and just tried to just not think about my phone. Every time an urge came up to go and check it, I just thought, well, that's just me trying to feel safe. It's like if you had a job and you were out with somebody in the evening, maybe you're sitting having some drinks and they say, you know what we should do? Let's go back to the office. Like, what would you say in that moment? You'd say, fuck off. I'm not going back to the office. I'm having a drink. I'm enjoying myself. So I started to imagine that that's what my brain was doing. Come on, let's go back to the office. And I'm going, no, I don't want to go back to the office. But that's what you're doing every time you pick up your phone, every time you check your email to see if everything is okay, every time you check your stats, you're going back to the office. And what you're doing as well, and what I'm doing all the time is trying to control the outcome. So I thought, I'm putting it away. This is one small step that I'm gonna do. And I've talked before about how I got to this place in freelancing was by taking small steps. So this was a small step I was going to do. I was going to put my phone away. And it'd be silly to say that I noticed anything hugely different, but I did feel like there was a slight change in how I felt yesterday evening in putting it away. Everything felt less like I needed it to move. That was the first thing I noticed. Everything, usually I'm like, what's next? Okay, let's have some time with the kids. Do you want to watch something on TV? Let's have dinner. There's always I'm always trying to move everything along. And that, let's just say it disappeared, because it'd be silly to say, but it lightened. And I noticed it the most when I put my 4-year-old, he's almost 4, he's 3, to bed. And usually my mentality in that moment is, okay, brush your teeth. And now, okay, will we do a story? And okay, lie down. And if he doesn't go to sleep, I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, you need to go to sleep. Come on. And that slightly eased. Like I say, it'd be silly to say it disappeared, but it eased. I just didn't feel the need. I wasn't really bothered about how long bedtime and the routine might take. And I started to think, is that because I'm even subconsciously thinking, I want this to move forward so that I can go down and check that everything's okay again. I need to go check my phone. Is everything okay? Can I get a signal that everything is okay? Can I get a new lead? Is there something that will happen that, might give me a bit of excitement in terms of the business? Maybe. But I put my phone away for the rest of the evening then, once he had gone to bed. And again, I just noticed that everything was a little bit less intense. So I tried to follow through this morning. I woke up and my brain wanted me to go to the office straight away, check your phone, check to see if there's anything, check to see you're okay. And I didn't. And the only thing that feels different today is it's a quiet day. There's not a huge amount on, which usually makes me panic. And today I felt like I don't really want to do work. I just want to maybe record this and look at some other things. I'm just not in the mood. And I felt like, you know what, because there's not a huge amount there, it can wait. It can wait until tomorrow. So usually I'm like, how much can I get through in a day? How much can I move in a day? And that kept coming back. How much can I move? How can everything move? And I started to think about it more. And I'd carried that. I feel like my business, I always needed to be moving. I always needed to be showing signs, or I need to be doing something to move it to the next stage. And I need to be seeing proof that that stuff is working. And if it's not, I go into panic mode. But what's happened is that I've carried that into my family life. I've carried in the need for everything to constantly be moving rather than just being. I need to get better at letting go, at accepting that things are where they're going to be. And I only have a finite amount of energy that I can put into work in a day or work in a week, a year, whatever. And at the moment, it's a lot of my energy is going towards other things that are definitely more important. So I'm going to continue on this journey of putting my phone away, of having very specific hours where I work, and not like I'm always going to be thinking about work at other times. And I think that's hard to avoid completely. But I think having that access to your phone, your email all the time is the biggest problem for self-employed people. So I'm going to continue to try and accept what's happening rather than try and control it, because I think we're always trying to control, we're always trying to hold on to things and thinking we can control the outcomes, and fearing that we can't, and fearing that, well, these two clients are holding everything together, and what happens if they go, and where will I be then? Catastrophizing. So yeah, this has been a very rambly, different style of video, but weirdly with a little bit of time away from my phone and seeing things slightly differently. This is what I felt the urge to do this morning. And I'll continue to update on my progress in terms of trying to let go of some of that control, of trying to hang on to everything and trying to grip this whole self-employed journey, trying to grip it so that it at least doesn't go backwards.